Hey everybody, I have a pumpkin and I know they're all around and they always make me happy when they're all out. They just look they're just amazing. And I just wanted to share with you, this may be hard for you to understand and maybe like, well, duh, or it might be one of those, wow, Jean really thinks about some strange things. But I just wanted to share with you a little story that happened when we lived in Ukraine. The soil in Ukraine is absolutely black. It is amazing soil to grow things in. In fact, when Hitler conquered Ukraine, when he came to Ukraine, he had trucks of soil from Ukraine sent back to Germany. It's known as the breadbasket of Europe in one sense, and Stalin has a history there too. He was the cause of this terrible, huge famine they had in Ukraine back in the 30s when he was trying to get the farmers to submit to centralized farming. But that's a whole nother story. Anyway, when we lived in Ukraine, we lived in a little village called Petrivka for about a year and a half. And in our backyard, we had a garden. And those of you that garden, I know some of you do, you know how amazing it is, how there's something very satisfying about having your own garden. My dad had a garden when I was a kid, and it wasn't nearly as satisfying to me because he would plant it and then we would pick it and weed it. But when you have your own, and we know all about seed, we know that when you plant a seed, it grows. But there's something truly amazing and spiritual, to me at least. It was just, I don't know, it was just, you just felt so, you wanted to praise God. Because you saw what happened. You know, you would put a seed in the ground and it would grow and it would produce more of the same. And the fact that we planted corn and it actually grew corn. And we planted pumpkins, and they grew pumpkins and tomatoes. I mean, it was just amazing to me. That may sound pretty, very simple to some of you, but it was just a really great thing to have, a garden. So one year we planted pumpkins, and I wanted the round pumpkins like they have here in the States. When we lived in Hungary and Ukraine, they have these elongated pumpkins. Mostly is what they have. And I wanted the round ones. So we planted pumpkins and we actually grew our own pumpkins, and it was so fun. And one day I brought in the pumpkin, one of our pumpkins, and I was going to cut it open. And when I cut it open, of course, it was full of seeds. Now, of course, this is not my pumpkin I had in Ukraine, but I bought a pumpkin here and I was cutting it open and I was thinking about what it was like in Ukraine. And of course, when you cut it open, there you see the seeds. Now, the pumpkin I had in Ukraine had a whole lot more seeds. These pumpkins are, they're made for something else. These are not pie pumpkins. But I want to tell you, when I cut open the pumpkin and I saw the seeds, I just almost cried because, now think about it, guys. God is a God of life, and whatever He creates, it's just full of life. And I don't know how to express this very well, but when I saw all the seeds in that pumpkin, I just saw God's love. His love is just so abundant in His creation. He creates things to live, to continue. You know, when death came into the world, that was unnatural. That was not His plan. But even in our fallen world, there's that picture, that love of His that just permeates every part of creation. That seed represents more life. And if you crack open a seed, you will find another little plant in there. Every single one of those seeds is capable of producing more than one pumpkin, but many. And it's just, I'm not doing it justice. I hope that you're getting this. But when you see a seed, that just shows more of God's love because He's putting seed to create more life. So here's this bowl full of seeds that I was able to get from this one pumpkin. And each of those seeds doesn't represent one more pumpkin. It represents many more pumpkins. Jesus said, we all know the verse about, except a grain of wheat fall in the earth and die, it will remain alone. But when it's planted and dies, it will produce much more fruit. And I don't know, just look at that bowl of seeds, guys. That represents God's love, His life, His great heart, that He just wants to give more and more and more life. I hope this blesses you as much as it blesses me. It's a very awkward, faltering expression, but I just wanted to share that with you. This is the time of harvest, and, we're thinking about a lot of things. But just this simple little visual of just seeing all the seed that's produced from one piece of fruit, and how it is made to just produce more, and how much God is so full of love and life. Anyway, I hope that made your day happy. It made mine happy. Bye.